I was making tea when my phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. Thursday evening, 6:30, and the kettle was starting to whistle. I picked up my phone and saw Nathan's name. My son. The message was short. Don't come to family dinner Sunday. We've decided we need space. We're cutting ties for now. My hands started trembling. The kettle screamed louder. I looked at the family group chat. Everyone was chiming in, agreeing. My daughter Christy, even the grandchildren, all of them lined up against me. The kettle kept screaming. I turned off the burner, and the kitchen went silent. So quiet I could hear my own breathing. I set the phone down on the table and looked around my home. Photos everywhere. Marcus and me on our wedding day, 43 years ago. The kids when they were little, grandchildren at every age. This house held so many memories, and right now, every single one of them hurt. I picked up the phone again with steady hands. I don't know where the calm came from, but it settled over me like a blanket. I typed back to Nathan, kept it simple. Got it. Take care of yourselves. I sent it to the group chat so everyone could see. The read receipts popped up one by one. I could almost feel their confusion through the screen. Then I muted the chat. The last 2 years played through my mind like a movie I'd watched too many times. Nathan married Amber 2 years ago last June. She was beautiful, charming, 10 years younger than him. At first, I was happy for him. His first marriage to Emily had ended badly 12 years back, and he'd been alone for so long. Amber seemed perfect. But things changed, slowly at first. Little comments here and there. You're so old-fashioned, Belle. That's not how modern families work. At family dinners, I got moved from the head of the table to the side, then to the corner. My opinions got dismissed. Oh, that's just Belle being dramatic. That's just Belle not understanding how things are done now. I'd been paying for so much. Nathan's business expansion last year, $50,000. Christy's house down payment, $50,000. All 4 grandchildren in private school, $12,000 per child per year. I never held it over anyone's head, never mentioned it. I just gave because that's what mothers do, right? The trust fund. Marcus left me very comfortable when he passed 4 years ago. $8 million in a trust, with me as the sole trustee. I had complete control. Every year, I'd been giving Nathan and Christy $50,000 each, plus whatever extras they needed. New roof? I covered it. Car repair? Done. Medical bills? Taken care of. I walked to my home office and opened the bottom drawer of my desk. Inside was a folder I'd prepared 3 months ago. It was after a particularly awful family dinner where Amber had humiliated me in front of everyone. She'd laughed about my clothes being outdated, made fun of how I pronounced a word. Nathan had just sat there, saying nothing. That night, I'd called Gerald Hansen. He'd been Marcus's college roommate, and he'd been our attorney for 30 years. I asked him to prepare alternate trust documents that would stop all distributions to my children immediately. The money would remain in the trust under my control, and when I died, it would go to charity unless I revised it again. Gerald had asked if I was sure. I told him I hoped I'd never need to use them. He prepared everything anyway. Now, that folder sat in my hands. I looked at the clock. 8:45 in the evening. I dialed Gerald's personal cell phone. He answered on the second ring. "Gerald," I said, "remember those documents we prepared? Execute them. Tonight." There was silence. "Then, Belle, are you certain?" I told him about the text. Read it to him word for word. He was quiet for a long moment. "I'll file everything electronically within the hour," he said. "It'll be official by 9 tomorrow morning." We talked for a few more minutes. He told me he was sorry, that he'd watched how they treated me at Marcus's funeral, and it had made him sick. I thanked him, and we hung up. I made my tea properly this time. Earl Grey with a splash of milk, just how Marcus always made it for me. I carried it to his favorite chair in the living room and sat down. Our wedding photo sat on the side table. We were so young. I was 24, he was 26. We had no idea what life would bring. Marcus used to tell me something when the kids were teenagers and giving me grief. Never let anyone treat you like you're less than you are, not even family, especially not family. I sipped my tea and felt something I hadn't felt in months, peace. As I was getting ready for bed, brushing my teeth and washing my face, I thought about what would happen tomorrow, Friday morning. Nathan's business account received automatic monthly transfers from the trust. $50,000 deposited at 9 in the morning like clockwork. His payroll came out of that account. He had 12 employees depending on those paychecks. Christy's mortgage payment auto-withdrew from her checking account every first Friday of the month, the account that I funded with regular transfers. By 9 tomorrow morning, they'd all see insufficient funds. They wouldn't know why at first. They'd call their banks. The banks would tell them to contact the trust company. The trust company would tell them the terms had been modified. Contact the trustee. Contact me. I lay down in bed and pulled the covers up. Marcus's side was still empty, after 4 years. I still slept on my side. My last thought before sleep took me was this: 12 hours. They have 12 hours of peace left. Then they'll understand exactly what they've lost. I slept better than I had in 2 years. Friday morning arrived with sunshine. I woke at 6, made coffee, and went out to my garden. I'd been meaning to plant bulbs for next spring, tulips and daffodils. Something to look forward to. I put on Marcus's old work gloves. They were too big for my hands, but I liked wearing them. Made me feel like he was still here somehow, helping me dig in the dirt. The October air was cool and perfect. I knelt on my gardening pad and started making holes in the soil. My phone was inside on the kitchen counter. I could hear it ringing faintly around 9:15, but I kept planting. Each bulb went into the ground with a little prayer. Grow strong, bloom bright. Survive the winter. What I didn't know yet was what was happening in my children's lives. Nathan had arrived at his office at 8:30, same as always. He ran a small marketing firm, 12 employees, good contracts. At 9, he logged into his business account to verify payroll had processed. The balance showed $300. His stomach dropped. The $50,000 transfer hadn't arrived. He called the bank. They checked. No deposit received. He called the trust management company. They pulled up the account. "Sir, the trust terms were modified yesterday evening. Distributions have been suspended. You'll need to contact the trustee." The trustee, his mother, me. He tried calling me. No answer. He tried again and again. Meanwhile, Christy was at her kitchen table paying bills online. She clicked to check her mortgage payment. Payment returned, insufficient funds. She felt panic rise in her chest. She'd been late twice last year. The bank had warned her one more time, and they'd start foreclosure proceedings. She called her bank. They told her the payment had bounced. She checked her account. The weekly transfer from me that usually arrived Thursday hadn't come through. Her balance was $62. She called Nathan, voice shaking. "Nathan, what's happening?" "Mom's transfer didn't come." "Mine neither," Nathan said. She changed the trust. She actually did it. They both started calling me. over and over. I was in the garden, dirt under my fingernails, bulbs going into the ground one by one. I could hear my phone ringing like a distant alarm. Amber grabbed Nathan's phone and saw the calls going to voicemail. She started texting me. "This is financial abuse. You can't do this to us. We'll sue you. We'll take you to court. You're going to regret this." Christy's husband, Patrick, joined in. He'd never liked me. Thought I was controlling. Always said I used money to manipulate. Now he was texting too. "You always were a bitter old woman." This proves it. The family group chat exploded. The grandchildren, confused and upset. "Grandma, what's going on? Why aren't you answering?" The older ones, in college, worried about tuition. The younger ones, in high school, worried because their parents were panicking. Everyone was calling. Nathan, Christy, Amber, Patrick, even the grandkids who were old enough to have phones. My phone buzzed and rang and chimed for 2 solid hours. I came inside at 11. My knees were sore from kneeling, my hands dirty, my back a little stiff. But I felt accomplished. All the bulbs were in the ground. Come spring, my garden would be beautiful. I washed my hands at the kitchen sink and looked at my phone. 88 missed calls. I stood there staring at the number. 88. I had 34 voicemails. Over 200 text messages. I made myself lunch. Grilled cheese sandwich and tomato soup. Comfort food. I sat at the kitchen table and ate slowly. Then I picked up my phone and started scrolling through the messages. Nathan's texts went from confused to angry to desperate. "Mom, please. My employees. Their families depend on these jobs. I can't make payroll. Please call me back." Christie's were panicked. "Mom, the mortgage. I'm going to lose the house." The kids. "Where will we go? Please, Mom, please." Amber's were threatening. "You're a manipulative witch. We're going to expose you for what you are. Everyone will know how you treat your family." Patrick's were cruel. "Always knew you were poison. Nathan and Christy are better off without you." Even the grandchildren. "Grandma, everyone's upset. What happened? Please call us." I listened to a few voicemails. Nathan crying. Actually crying. "Mom, I'm sorry. Whatever I did, I'm sorry. But my employees have kids. They have mortgages. I can't let them down. Please." Christy hyperventilating. "Mom, I can't breathe." The bank called. "They're starting foreclosure proceedings. 30 days. I have 30 days. Please don't do this." Amber's voice, cold and sharp. "You think you're punishing us, but you're only hurting yourself. We'll never speak to you again. You'll die alone." I set the phone down and finished my soup. At 1 in the afternoon, someone started pounding on my front door. I looked through the window. Nathan's car in my driveway. Christy's SUV behind it. All 4 of them. Nathan, Amber, Christy, Patrick. They looked frantic. Nathan was yelling through the door. "Mom, open up. We need to talk. Please." I stood there watching them for a moment. They'd driven 30 minutes to my house, not to apologize, not to ask why I was hurt, to demand I restore their money. I went upstairs to my bedroom and locked the door. Then I called the non-emergency police line. "I need help," I said. "Family members are pounding on my door and I feel unsafe." The dispatcher was kind. "Do you want an officer to come?" "Yes, please." I sat on my bed and listened to them yelling and pounding. This went on for 15 minutes. Then I heard a siren. The pounding stopped. Through my bedroom window, I could see a police car pulling up. Officer Daniels got out. I'd met him before at a neighborhood watch meeting. "Good man." "Fair." I heard voices downstairs, muffled. I waited 5 minutes, then went downstairs and opened my front door. Officer Daniels was standing on my porch. Behind him, my family stood in the yard, looking like scolded children. "Mrs. Carson, are you all right?" he asked. "I'm fine," I said. "They came without invitation. I asked them to leave through the door. They wouldn't." The officer turned to my family. "She's asking you to leave. You need to go." Nathan stepped forward. "Officer, this is a misunderstanding. She's our mother. We just need to talk. I don't want them on my property," I said clearly. "I'd like them to leave." Officer Daniels looked at me. "Mrs. Carson, are you willing to speak with them?" I thought about it, then nodded. "But only if you stay," he agreed. We all went to my backyard, to the patio table. I sat on one side. The 4 of them crowded together on the other. Officer Daniels stood nearby, arms crossed. Nathan started. "Mom, what did you do? The trust, the money, everything's frozen." "I modified the terms," I said. "It's my legal right as trustee." Amber exploded. "You're punishing us. This is abuse." I looked at her steadily. "Abuse? Like texting your mother-in-law that she's cut off from her family?" Christy was crying. "Mom, I could lose my house, the kids' school, everything." "You told me I wasn't welcome at Sunday dinner," I said. "I took you at your word." Patrick leaned forward, angry. "You always held money over our heads." "I've never held anything over anyone," I said. "I've given freely for 4 years. Never asked for anything back." Nathan tried again. "Mom, my employees have families, kids, mortgages. They haven't done anything wrong. Did you think about my family when you sent that text?" I asked. "I am your family, or I was." I pulled out my phone, scrolled to the group chat. "Read the messages out loud." Amber wrote, "Finally, we don't need her negativity." Christy wrote, "Agree. She's been such a burden lately." Nathan, you wrote, "Mom's always been manipulative." This is us setting healthy boundaries. They all went quiet. Then I kept scrolling. Found something else. Gerald had given me screenshots last month. His paralegal had seen them accidentally when Nathan's phone was open during an appointment. A separate group chat, one I wasn't in, started by Amber 6 months ago. The chat name was Operation Independence. I read those messages too. Amber: "Once we get Belle declared incompetent, we can get power of attorney. Then we control everything." Nathan: "How do we prove she's incompetent?" Amber: "Document everything. Every time she forgets something. Every time she seems confused. Build a case." Christy: "What if she won't go along with it?" Amber: "Then we force it. Get a doctor to evaluate her. Once we have POA, we put her in a nice facility and sell the house." Patrick: "How much is the house worth?" Nathan: "About 900,000. Amber: "Plus the 8 million in the trust. We'll be set for life." I looked up from my phone. All 4 of them had gone pale. Amber started. "That was taken out of context. You wanted me declared incompetent so you could steal from me," I said. Nathan reached across the table. "Mom, no. We were just worried about you living alone." "Worried?" I asked. "Or greedy?" Christy broke. "It was Amber's idea. She said you'd be happier in a facility, that you were lonely, that we were helping you." Amber turned on her. "Shut up, Christy!" Officer Daniels stepped forward. "I think this conversation is over." As they were leaving, Amber turned back to me. "You haven't heard the last of this. We'll fight you in court. We'll win." "I have the best attorneys money can buy," I said. My money. Good luck. They left. Officer Daniels stayed for a moment. Mrs. Carson, he said gently, in my experience, when money's involved, people get desperate. Be careful. He handed me his card. After he left, I sat in my backyard alone. The sun was setting. My hands were still shaking. My phone rang. Gerald. Belle, Nathan called my office. He's looking for a lawyer to challenge the trust modifications. Can he win? I asked. No, Gerald said. But he can make your life hell trying. I realized then that this wasn't over. It was just beginning. Friday evening came, and my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Different numbers I didn't recognize. I figured out they were using other people's phones. Friends, co-workers, anyone who'd let them borrow a phone to try to reach me. The voicemails piled up. Nathan's voice, raw and desperate. Mom, I'm going to lose the business. 12 families depend on those paychecks. Please, I'm begging you. Christy's voice, breaking. The bank called again. 30 days to foreclosure if I don't catch up. Your grandchildren. Think about your grandchildren. Where will they go? They were using guilt like a weapon, trying to make me responsible for their poor planning, their bad choices. I made myself dinner. Baked chicken and roasted vegetables. Ate at the table with the TV on for company. Some cooking show. The chef was making something complicated with 17 ingredients. Marcus used to joke that I could burn water. He did most of the cooking when he was alive. Around 8, my neighbor, Helen, knocked on my door. She's 72, lives alone like me. We look out for each other. Belle, she said, I don't know if I should show you this, but I think you need to see it. She handed me her phone. Facebook was open. Amber's page. There was a post from that afternoon. It was vague but clear if you knew the situation. Going through something really difficult with family right now. When someone you love shows their true colors, it's heartbreaking. Dealing with elder abuse and financial manipulation. Please keep us in your prayers. The comments were full of support. Praying for you. So sorry you're dealing with this. Family can be so toxic. Stay strong. The narrative was already being spun. They were the victims. I was the villain. I handed Helen's phone back. Thank you for showing me. What are you going to do? She asked. Nothing tonight, I said. Tonight, I'm going to finish my dinner and watch my show. She hugged me. Call if you need anything. After she left, I thought about calling Gerald. Decided against it. Tomorrow was Saturday. I'd let him enjoy his evening. I went to bed early. Took a long bath first. Lavender soap. Marcus gave me a bottle every Christmas. I still had 3 bottles left. I was rationing them, making them last. In bed, I thought about Sunday. The dinner I wasn't invited to. Tomorrow would be Saturday. Then Sunday, they'd all gather without me. Probably talk about how unreasonable I was being. How they were the victims. Let them, I thought. Let them have their dinner. I'll have my peace. Saturday morning, I woke to my doorbell ringing. It was 9 o'clock. I put on my robe and went downstairs, looked through the window. Delivery truck. Flowers. I opened the door. The delivery man handed me a huge bouquet. Lilies and roses. The card said, Mom, I'm so sorry. Please call me. I love you, Nathan. An hour later, more flowers. From Christy this time, pink roses. I miss you, Mom. Please forgive me. Then, around lunchtime, a food delivery I didn't order. Italian food from Marcello's, my favorite restaurant. From Nathan, chicken parmesan and fettuccine alfredo. I understood what they were doing. Love bombing, trying to soften me up, make me feel guilty for staying firm. I gave the food to Helen. The flowers I left on the porch. That afternoon, my sister Carol called. We don't talk often. She lives in Arizona. We see each other maybe once a year. Belle, what on earth is going on? Nathan called me. He's devastated. I explained the situation. The text. The trust. The plan to declare me incompetent. Carol was quiet. Then, Belle, I understand you're hurt, but cutting them off completely? That seems extreme. They wanted to steal from me, Carol. Put me in a home. Sell my house. Nathan says that's not true, she said. He says they were worried about you. I felt my chest tighten. Of course he'd call her. Call everyone. Control the story. Believe what you want, I said. I know the truth. We hung up. I felt more alone than ever. Then my cousin Tom called. Then an old friend from church. Then another neighbor, all of them with the same message. Can't you work this out? Family is family. They were calling everyone I knew, painting me as unreasonable, cruel, an angry old woman punishing her children. At 4 p.m, I went to get my mail. My car was blocked in the driveway. Nathan's truck parked right behind my car. Nathan was sitting on my front steps. I walked back inside and called Officer Daniels. He arrived 20 minutes later. Nathan stood up when the officer pulled in. Officer, I'm just trying to talk to my mother. Sir, does she want you here? Officer Daniels asked. I don't know, Nathan said. She won't talk to me. Officer Daniels looked at me. Mrs. Carson? I don't want him here, I said. Nathan looked at me with tears in his eyes. Mom, please, I'm your son. You need to leave, sir, Officer Daniels said. After Nathan left, the officer said, Mrs. Carson, you might want to consider a restraining order. I nodded. I'll think about it. That evening, my phone rang from a number I didn't know. I almost didn't answer, but I did. Mrs. Carson? This is Dr. Fletcher from Westfield Academy, the headmaster of the private school my grandchildren attended. My stomach dropped. Dr. Fletcher, I said, what can I do for you? We need to discuss the tuition situation, he said. Your son Nathan called us yesterday. He indicated there might be an issue with payment. What did he say? I asked. He said you're experiencing some cognitive difficulties, memory issues. He wanted us to know you might not remember making the tuition commitments. I felt my face go hot. Dr. Fletcher, I'm completely competent. My memory is perfect. However, I will no longer be paying tuition for the children. Their parents will need to make arrangements. I see, he said. He sounded uncomfortable. Mrs. Carson, without payment, the children can't continue after this term ends. I understand, I said. That's between you and their parents. After I hung up, I sat there shaking. They were telling people I had dementia, destroying my reputation, making me look incompetent so when they filed for guardianship, people would believe them. I called Gerald at home, interrupted his Saturday evening. Gerald, they're telling people I have dementia. Who is? He asked. Nathan called the school. My sister. Probably others. They're building a case. That's slander, Gerald said. We can sue. I want a restraining order, I said, against all of them. Nathan, Amber, Christy, Patrick. Belle, are you sure? Once you do that, there's no going back. I'm sure, I said. Prepare the paperwork. We file Monday morning. He said he would. We hung up. I looked around my empty house. Sunday tomorrow. The day I wasn't invited to dinner, I'd be spending it alone. But I wouldn't be surrounded by people who wanted to use me, who saw me as nothing but a bank account. That night, I got a text from an unknown number. "You're going to regret this. We'll make sure everyone knows what you really are." It was Amber, using someone else's phone. I screenshot it and sent it to Gerald. Evidence. I went to bed but couldn't sleep, stared at the ceiling, thought about my life. How had I raised children who could treat me this way? Where had I gone wrong? Then I thought about Marcus. He'd been a good father, firm but loving. He'd taught them values, honesty, integrity, respect. But after he died, something changed. Or maybe Amber changed them. Or maybe the money changed them. Maybe it didn't matter why. What mattered was what happened next. Monday morning, I met Gerald at the courthouse. We filed temporary restraining orders against Nathan, Amber, Christy, and Patrick. The hearing was scheduled for 2 weeks out, but the judge granted temporary orders immediately. They had to stay 500 feet away from me. The sheriff would serve the papers that day. By Monday afternoon, Amber had posted on Facebook again. This time, she named me. The post was long, detailed, full of lies. My mother-in-law, Belle Carson, has filed false restraining orders against her family because we expressed concern about her mental health. She's cut off her grandchildren's education funding and destroyed my husband's business out of spite. We tried to suggest family counseling, and she responded with legal action. This is what elder abuse looks like. Please pray for us as we try to help someone who doesn't want help. We love her and just want her to get the care she needs. The post went viral in our community. Hundreds of shares within hours. The comments were mixed. Some people defending Amber, others questioning her side of the story. But the damage was done. I was now publicly labeled as mentally ill, abusive, cruel. Monday evening, I needed groceries. I'd been putting it off, but I had to eat. I drove to the store I'd been shopping at for 20 years. I walked through the automatic doors and felt eyes on me. People staring, whispering. One woman, someone I'd served with on the church hospitality committee, looked right at me and turned away. I got my cart and started shopping. In the produce section, I heard 2 women talking behind me. That's her. The grandmother, the one who cut off her family? Can you imagine? Your own grandchildren. I kept picking out apples. Pretended I didn't hear. At the checkout, the cashier who usually chatted with me was cold, silent, scanned my items without looking at me. I left without buying everything I needed, went home, and cried in my car, in the garage. Tuesday morning, my phone rang. Local newspaper. "Mrs. Carson, this is Jennifer Walsh from the Tribune. We're running a story about a local family dispute, financial elder abuse allegations. Would you like to comment?" I felt sick. "No comment," I said, and hung up. I called Gerald. "They're going to the press." "Say nothing," he said. "We'll respond through legal channels if needed." The article ran Tuesday evening. Online first, then in Wednesday's print edition. The headline, "Local Family Seeks Help for Matriarch They Say is Struggling." The article quoted Amber. "We just want our mother back. She's not herself. We're worried she's being taken advantage of by people who want her money." It quoted Nathan. "She used to be so loving, so generous. Now she's angry all the time. We think someone's manipulating her." The implication was clear, Gerald. They were suggesting my attorney was manipulating me, taking advantage of an elderly woman with cognitive issues. The community Facebook groups exploded with discussion. People taking sides, most siding with Nathan and Amber. Poor family. That lawyer should be investigated. Elder abuse is so common. Wednesday, I went to church. First Community Church. I'd been a member for 30 years. Sang in the choir. volunteered in the nursery, helped with every potluck. I arrived early for evening service. Pastor Jim asked to speak with me in his office. "Belle," he said gently, "I've had several calls. Nathan and Christy have asked for church intervention. They say you're estranged and need family counseling." I explained my side. The text, the plan to declare me incompetent, the theft they'd been planning. I showed him the screenshots of their messages. Pastor Jim looked shocked. "Belle? I had no idea. I'm so sorry." But then he said, "I'm obligated to remain neutral in family disputes. However, I do think counseling could help. They wanted to steal my money and put me in a home," I said. He looked uncomfortable. Perhaps everyone could benefit from a mediator. I realized he didn't fully believe me. Or he wanted to believe everyone was equally wrong. "I should skip tonight's service," I said. He didn't argue. "Some members have strong feelings. It might be best." But I didn't skip. This was my church. I went to service. I sat in my usual pew. 4th row, left side. People stared, whispered. No one sat near me. Halfway through the service, Nathan and Amber walked in. They weren't supposed to be within 500 feet of me, but they sat in the back. Pastor Jim saw them, looked distressed. After the service, he had to ask them to leave. Nathan stood up in front of everyone. "She's turned our own church against us. Our mother! Look what she's doing." Amber was crying. "We just want our family back." People were watching. Some looked at me with disgust, others with pity. I sat there, tears streaming down my face, silent. They finally left. Pastor Jim tried to apologize to me, but I walked out. In the parking lot, a woman approached me. I didn't know her well. Sharon something. Her daughter was engaged to Patrick's brother. "Mrs. Carson, I'm sorry to bother you," she said, "but I needed to tell you something." She glanced around to make sure no one was listening. "Last month, my family had dinner with Patrick's family. I was in the kitchen and overheard Amber and Nathan talking in the dining room. Amber was saying, 'Once we get the old lady out of the way, we'll have millions. I've already planned the trip to Europe we'll take.' Nathan laughed and said, 'She's so gullible. Thinks we actually care about Sunday dinners.'" I stared at Sharon. "You heard this?" "Every word," she said. "I didn't know what to do with it. But seeing what they're doing to you now, I can testify if you need me to." I got her phone number. Called Gerald immediately. "I have a witness. That night, I should have felt hopeful. I had evidence. A witness. The truth was coming out. But I got a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment," I answered. Amber's voice. "You think you've won? We're filing for guardianship tomorrow. We have 12 people ready to testify you're incompetent. A doctor who'll say you have dementia. By next month, you'll be in a nursing home, and we'll have power of attorney. You're done, Belle. Finished." She hung up. I sat on my couch, shaking. They were really going to do it. Try to take away my freedom, my autonomy, everything. I called Gerald. It was 10 at night. "They're filing for guardianship. Let them try," he said. "We'll bury them in court." But I was terrified. What if they succeeded? What if the judge believed them? What if I lost everything? I didn't sleep that night. Just lay in bed, staring at the dark ceiling, wondering if I'd made a terrible mistake. Thursday morning, the courier arrived at 9. Legal documents. I signed for them and opened the envelope with shaking hands. Petition for emergency guardianship, filed by Nathan Carson and Christy Morrison. They were claiming I was a danger to myself, claiming I had dementia and couldn't manage my affairs. The petition included affidavits. I read through them, feeling sicker with each page. Dr. Raymond Moss stated he'd evaluated me and diagnosed early-onset dementia 2 years ago. He listed medications I was supposedly taking: Aricept, Namenda, medications I'd never heard of, never taken. Amber's affidavit listed incidents of my confusion, times I'd supposedly forgotten conversations, repeated questions, got lost driving to familiar places, all lies, complete fabrications. Nathan's affidavit claimed I'd made irrational decisions, accused him of things that never happened, showed paranoid thinking. There were 3 more affidavits from family, friends, people I'd known for years, each one describing incidents of my declining mental state, things that never occurred. The emergency hearing was scheduled for Monday, 4 days away. If the judge granted their petition, I could lose control of my life immediately. I called Gerald in a panic. "How can they just lie like this?" "People lie in court all the time," he said. "We'll disprove it. I'm getting you evaluated immediately." "By Dr. Moss?" I asked. "No." I looked him up. He's a chiropractor, not qualified to diagnose dementia. Patrick's golf buddy. They probably paid him to write that affidavit. "Can they do that?" I asked. "It's fraud," Gerald said. "We're filing criminal complaints. But first, we need to prove you're completely competent." Friday morning, I went to Dr. Patricia Walsh's office. She was a geriatric psychiatrist, one of the best in the state. The evaluation took 3 hours. Cognitive tests, memory tests, psychological assessments. She asked me to remember lists of words, draw shapes, solve puzzles, answer questions about my life, my history, current events. At the end, she smiled. "Mrs. Carson, your mind is sharp as a tack. No signs of cognitive decline whatsoever. Your memory is better than most people half your age." She wrote a detailed report, 12 pages, refuting every claim in their affidavits. Gerald also dug into Dr. Moss, found out he'd been sanctioned twice for inappropriate billing, was currently under investigation by the State Chiropractic Board. His testimony would be destroyed in court. "We have them," Gerald said. "This is fraud, clear as day." But I didn't feel victorious. I felt exhausted. Friday evening, my phone rang. "Christy." I almost didn't answer. "Mom," she said. She was crying. "Please." I didn't want it to go this far. Amber said it was the only way. "The only way to what?" I asked. "Steal from me?" "No, to protect the family, to keep us together." "By having me declared incompetent?" she sobbed. "Mom, I miss you. The kids miss you. Please, drop the restraining order. Restore the trust. We'll drop the guardianship petition. We can work this out." I wanted to believe her. She was my daughter, my baby girl. Then I heard it in the background. Amber's voice. "Tell her about the house payment. Tell her about the school." Christy was reading from a script. This wasn't genuine. This was manipulation. I hung up, sat there crying, my own daughter. Saturday morning, I woke to the sound of breaking glass. I ran downstairs. My living room window was shattered, glass everywhere. In the middle of the floor, a brick, a note wrapped around it with rubber bands. I unwrapped it with shaking hands. The note said, "Give us what's ours." I called the police. Officer Daniels came. They collected evidence, the brick, the note, took photos. "Without proof of who did it, there's not much we can do," he said. "But I'll increase patrols in your neighborhood." After he left, I looked at the shattered window, glass on the floor, cold air coming in. I felt unsafe in my own home. I packed a bag, called Diane, My best friend since high school. Can I stay with you for a few days? Of course, she said. Come right now. I left my house. Felt like I was being driven out. Like they were winning. Saturday afternoon, at Diane's house, my phone rang. Number I didn't recognize. Different state. I almost didn't answer. Mrs. Carson? This is Emily Brennan. Emily, Nathan's first wife. I hadn't talked to her in 12 years. Emily, I said, how did you get my number? I saw the news story online, she said, about the family dispute. I had to call. I looked you up. She took a breath. Mrs. Carson, when I was married to Nathan, Amber was his coworker. She pursued him, broke up our marriage, but that's not why I'm calling. Go on, I said. When Nathan and I divorced, he claimed bankruptcy, said the business had failed. I got nothing in the settlement, but I just looked him up. He has a successful business now. Mrs. Carson, he hid assets during our divorce. I have proof. Emails between him and Amber planning it. I sat up straight. You have proof? I saved everything, she said. I was too hurt and broke to fight then. But seeing what they're doing to you, I can't stay quiet. Amber's done this before. Her first husband, she manipulated him into giving her everything in their divorce. Then she left him broke and depressed. She's a con artist. She's been planning this with Nathan from the start. You're just the biggest target. Within an hour, Emily emailed me documents. Emails. Bank statements. Evidence of Nathan and Amber's fraud during his first divorce. I forwarded everything to Gerald. He called me back within 30 minutes. Belle, this changes everything. We can prove pattern of fraud. We can file criminal charges. They're finished. Saturday evening, I sat in Diane's guest room holding all this evidence. I had the power now. I could destroy them. Nathan could lose his business, face criminal charges, prison time. Christy could be charged as an accessory, could lose custody of her children. I thought about my grandchildren. What would happen to them if their parents went to prison? I thought about Marcus. What would he say? I called Gerald. Here's what we're going to do. Monday morning, the courtroom was cold. I sat with Gerald and Dr. Walsh. Across the aisle, Nathan, Amber, Christy, and Patrick sat with their attorney. They looked confident. Smook, even. Judge Sarah Morrison entered. Everyone stood. She was in her 60s, gray hair pulled back, sharp eyes. I'd read about her. She had a reputation for being fair but tough. No tolerance for nonsense. The hearing began. Their attorney presented the guardianship petition. Read the affidavits. Painted me as a confused, paranoid old woman who couldn't manage her own affairs. Then it was our turn. I took the stand first. Gerald asked me questions. I answered clearly. Told them about the trust, about Marcus, about my management of the finances for 4 years. Showed records of every transaction. Perfect bookkeeping. I told them about the text message, about the plan to declare me incompetent, showed the screenshots of their Operation Independence chat. Their attorney objected. Those messages are taken out of context. Judge Morrison looked at the messages herself. Seems pretty clear to me. Continue. Dr. Walsh testified next. Explained her evaluation. My perfect cognitive scores, my excellent mental health. She stated unequivocally that I had no signs of dementia. Then Gerald called Dr. Moss. He showed up in a polo shirt and khakis, looked nervous. Dr. Moss, you stated you evaluated Mrs. Carson and diagnosed her with dementia. Is that correct? Yes, he said. When did this evaluation take place? 2 years ago, he said. Where? At her home. What tests did you administer? He fumbled. Cognitive assessments. Standard protocol. Dr. Moss, what's your medical specialty? I'm a chiropractor. Are you qualified to diagnose dementia? I have training in neurological issues. Gerald presented Dr. Moss's credentials, his disciplinary record. Judge Morrison's face grew stern. Dr. Moss, did Patrick Morrison pay you to write that affidavit? No, absolutely not. We have bank records showing a payment of $5,000 from Patrick Morrison to you, dated 3 days before you signed that affidavit. Dr. Moss went pale. That was for treatment, back adjustment. You've never treated Mr. Morrison according to your own records. Dr. Moss started sweating. I may have been mistaken about the evaluation date. Did you ever evaluate Mrs. Carson? He looked at their attorney, at Nathan, at Amber. I want to speak to my lawyer. Judge Morrison leaned forward. Answer the question, sir. No, he whispered. I never evaluated her. The courtroom went silent. Gerald called Sharon next. She testified about what she'd heard at the family dinner. Amber's comments about getting rid of the old lady. Nathan's comments about Sunday dinners being meaningless. Then Gerald called Emily via video conference. She testified about Nathan and Amber's pattern, the hidden assets during the divorce, Amber's history. Under cross-examination, Christy broke down crying, admitted Amber had pressured her, told her Belle was going to give everything to charity, that they'd get nothing. Amber turned on Nathan. This was your mother. You said she'd back down. Nathan turned on Amber. You said this would work. You said the judge would side with us. Judge Morrison banged her gavel. Enough. The courtroom went quiet. I've seen many family disputes on this bench, Judge Morrison said. But this level of calculated manipulation and fraud is appalling. The guardianship petition is denied. Mrs. Carson is clearly competent. She looked at Nathan, Amber, and Christy with disgust. I'm making the restraining orders permanent. I'm ordering you to pay Mrs. Carson's legal fees, and I'm referring this matter to the district attorney for investigation of fraud and perjury. She looked at me. Mrs. Carson, you deserve better than this. This court stands adjourned. Outside the courthouse, Gerald asked me, do you want to press criminal charges? We have everything we need. I stood there looking at the courthouse steps. Nathan sat on the bottom step, head in his hands. Christy was crying in her car. Amber was nowhere to be seen. She'd already run. I thought about my grandchildren. Nathan's kids, ages 16 and 14. Christy's kids, ages 12 and 9. What would happen to them if their parents went to prison? I thought about Marcus, about Grace, about being the bigger person. No criminal charges, I said, but I have terms. We met that afternoon in Gerald's conference room. Nathan and Christy came. Amber and Patrick refused. I laid out my terms. The restraining orders remain permanent for Amber and Patrick. Nathan and Christy can have supervised contact with me on my terms only. The trust remains under my control. No distributions while I'm alive. When I die, the money goes directly to the grandchildren in educational trusts. Nathan and Christy get nothing unless they comply with every term. They must publicly retract all statements about my mental competence. They must attend family therapy, though I won't join them. Nathan looked at me. Why are you being merciful? Because I'm your mother, I said. And I still love you, even when you don't deserve it. 3 months passed. November turned into December. January arrived cold and bright. I was in my garden on a Tuesday afternoon. The bulbs I'd planted in October were sleeping under the snow. Come spring, they'd bloom. Tulips and daffodils. red and yellow and bright. Diane and Sharon were coming for dinner. I'd invited Emily, too. We'd become friends over phone calls and emails. She was flying in from Colorado. Gerald and his wife were coming. A small gathering. My chosen family. I was setting the table when the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Nathan standing there, alone. "Mom," he said, "can I talk to you?" We sat on the porch. Cold out, but the sun was warm. "I've been in therapy," he said. "Twice a week. Amber and I are getting divorced. I'm selling the business to pay back the employees I missed paying, starting over." He looked at me with tears in his eyes. "I'm so sorry, Mom, for everything. For letting Amber poison me against you. For putting money before family. For forgetting who raised me." He cried. I cried too. "Can you forgive me?" he asked. "I don't know yet," I said. "You hurt me deeply. It'll take time." He nodded. "I understand. Can I try to earn your trust back?" "You can try," I said, "but it won't be quick." He stood to leave. Hesitated. "Are you having Thanksgiving dinner this year?" I thought about it. That text had come before Thanksgiving last year. "Don't come to family dinner." "Maybe," I said. "We'll see." He left. I watched his car drive away. That evening, my table was full. Diane, Sharon, Emily, Gerald, and his wife, Helen, from next door. We ate roast chicken and mashed potatoes, laughed, told stories, toasted to new beginnings. My phone buzzed during dessert. A text from Christy. "I miss you, Mom. I'm working on myself. Going to therapy. Learning to stand up for myself. I hope someday I can earn your trust back." I showed it to Diane. "Will you forgive her?" "Maybe," I said. "But trust? That's earned, not given." We ate pie. Apple, my favorite. Marcus used to make it from scratch. I looked around my table at these people who'd stood by me, who'd believed me, who'd chosen me. Sharon raised her glass. To Belle, to courage, everyone drank. I felt something I hadn't felt in 2 years. Light, like the weight had lifted. I looked at Marcus's photo on the mantel, imagined him saying, "You did good, Belle. You did real good." And for the first time in a long time, I believed it. I learned something through all of this. That love without respect isn't really love. That family who uses you isn't really family. That standing up for yourself isn't cruel or selfish. It's necessary. It's survival. I also learned that sometimes the family you choose is more loyal than the family you're born with. That trust is fragile and precious. That money reveals who people really are. And I learned that it's never too late to stand up for yourself, even at 67 years old, even when it's hard, even when everyone tells you you're wrong. I'm still here, in my house, in my garden, living my life on my terms. Nathan is working on himself. Maybe one day we'll have a real relationship again, built on respect, not money. Christy is trying. Small steps. We'll see where it goes. Amber is gone. Out of our lives. Good riddance. And me? I'm planting more bulbs this fall. Planning my garden for spring. Having dinners with people who genuinely care about me. That text message, the one that broke my heart, ended up being the best thing that could have happened. It forced me to see the truth, to stand up, to stop letting people treat me like I was less than I am. Don't come to family dinner. Those words hurt, but they also freed me. And now I'm free to build the life I deserve. Surrounded by people who value me, who respect me, who love me for me, not for what I can give them. Spring is coming. The bulbs will bloom, and so will I. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to set boundaries with family members who didn't respect you? How did you handle it? What would you have done in my situation? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button. It helps more people find these stories and know they're not alone in their struggles. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future stories, and share this with someone who might need to hear it. Someone who's struggling to set boundaries. Someone who needs permission to stand up for themselves. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here. Thank you for understanding. I hope you find the courage to stand up for yourself when you need to. I hope you surround yourself with people who truly value you. And I hope your garden, whatever form it takes, blooms bright and beautiful. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. And remember, it's never too late to choose yourself. Until next time.